Well, now that President Trump has pardoned Michael Milken, is he going to be able to reclaim his legacy on Wall Street if he returns to the securities industry? Doug Flynn, certified financial planner, co-founder of Flynn, Zito Capital Management, is here. And that's the question. Do you think he tries to come back?
I don't think directly. You'd have to reapply through the SEC, and although they can't disqualify him for being a felon any longer. He still has to go through the application process. So they could still keep him out. But what I think will more likely happen is he'll get more involved around the edges with investment firms. And he was prohibited from doing that, and I think he can do that. And they might want his expertise for that.
Because he's a cancer survivor. I mean, this happened back in the 80s. He served prison time in the 90s. I mean, he's built an entire new career.
Sure.
Books and speaking engagements. I mean, that seems to be more of an attractive. And he's kind of set his life I think in play that way.
He has. I mean, he's still the 600th richest person in the world.
Yeah.
So that's something, and he's done a ton of money, raised a ton of money for cancer research. So I think in the how doesn't everybody deserve a second chance in that respect? If you go back and say, look at the preponderance of what he's done in his life, okay, there are a lot of positives, and I'm sure he's going to continue that as well.
Well, speaking of Wall Street, let's talk about Mike Bloomberg, going to be taken to the debate stage in Nevada. And this is interesting because he's proposed a tax plan. He's looking at taxing stock trades and other financial transactions.
Yeah.
This is the man that owns Bloomberg LP, which, by the way, sells terminals to traders. I'm not sure what to make of all of this. The 180 that Mike Bloomberg is doing.
Yeah, he's made his money clearly selling to the people that now he might be going after, for one. But I think it's more important. If you think about the average investor, more than half of us in the United States have some money invested in some way through pension funds or 401ks. He's going to raise the fees on these, even index funds. Their fees could go up by 10% as a result of the financial transaction tax. And a period when firms have worked really hard to lower the cost for investors, he wants to get in there and raise it. And even with the amount of money he thinks he's going to raise, as it usually happens, you never actually raise that amount of money because people on Wall Street will figure out ways to get around that.
But when he was mayor of New York, he was anti-regulation against Wall Street.
100%.
Again, I go to another 180, which I'm sure is going to come up tonight.
No question about it. I hope it comes up because he should be challenged in some of the things because he's speaking on the exact opposite side of his mouth as he did for all these years, making his billions.
Yeah, let's talk about the issue of the coronavirus. We're going to be getting from the Fed minutes. The big question mark, obviously, does the Fed see an impact on the U.S. economy based on the coronavirus? China is starting to kind of come out now and say and kind of own up to the fact they are going to have issues. Does it affect us, do you think?
I think it might have a minor impact, but not enough to move the Fed to do anything other than just do absolutely nothing through the election. They're not going to mess with interest rates. I think that's what they're looking for. Could it have a short-term impact? It certainly might in some way, but not to we have to see it affect China a little bit more first before it affects us. I don't see it happening in time before they're going to do anything with
Well, but
with
all the earnings
rates.
calls, all these companies are coming out and they're being asked about coronavirus. Analysts on Wall Street are very concerned.
It is. It hasn't worked its way into the earnings yet. It could have an impact, and I'm really worried about that in the third and fourth quarter because we do need those earnings to improve so we can have a higher stock market.
We have a lot of operations in China. Apple first to throw out that issue. Doug Flynn, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, Lauren, over to you.
Well, new questions this morning as the